2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and a number of reasons. High teenage pregnancy amongst African American as well as Hispanic in the community, high HIV/AIDS rates amongst the African and Hispanic communities and the minority communities, high incarceration rate amongst young black men in general, okay, high crime rate amongst young black men, the high drug rate amongst young black men, the miseducation of young black men not knowing their history, not knowing where they come from, who they are, and the list goes on and on and on. And the high list of just young black men in period who are uneducated, uninformed, not particularly analytical thinking individuals within a society. And this show is to actually pinpoint that and try and give dialogue so some of our young brothers and sisters, as well as even people who are adults, can actually say to themselves, this is something interesting. This is something that we need to focus on. This is something that we really need to talk about. Becoming more responsible, becoming more accountable, becoming more aware of what's going on in our community, becoming more aware of what's happening in society. So some people may take this show and say, oh, it's a 5% journal and I know what they believe, but beside that point, we're not talking about anything negative. We're talking about positive things, how to solve problems that exist within our community, because the same individual who you don't teach and who you don't reach out to and who you don't try and educate, that may be the same individual who's waiting on a corner for you one day ready to rob you.
Mm-hmm. True.
The same individual who you refuse to teach and refuse to educate, that's the same individual one day breaking into your home, harming your children, harming your wife.
Or giving your daughter a baby.
Or giving your daughter a baby and not taking care of that baby. So this is why this show is vitally important to focus on issues that we need to talk about. Teach. If you refuse to teach, it's going to come back to haunt you.
That's right.
Teach the babies. Teach the young. And that's one less uneducated child that's coming back to commit a crime against you because you taught them and you gave them some form of civilization. But responsibility and accountability from a family perspective, and basically we know and understand that there are single mothers and there are single fathers to exist out there. What would you say, you gentlemen say, to single mothers, single fathers taking care of children alone who might want to get some more information or get knowledge yourself, go about being more responsible in their families? Peace, Mr. Adam.
Well, in all reality, none of us raise children by ourselves.
Right.
You know, there's always a grandmother, a grandfather, an uncle, an aunt, cousin,
Right.
sibling that, you know, participates in how when we rear our children. You know, no one really does it alone.
Right.
You know, so, and that's real important because that's, like they say, it takes a village to raise a child, and it really does, because a parent is not going to be the only influencing factor in a child's life. You know, so as a responsible parent and a father, knowing that, you have to now control the circumstances by which who and what has influence on your child. You know, if that means, you know, not sending them to public school and keeping them at home to be reared and educated, if it means selecting their friends who they're allowed to hang out with, and as a precursor to that, meeting their parents, being acquainted with their friends' parents to see what type of lifestyle they live at home.
Right.
Because if your child is going to be spending time with this child in his or her home, then there's going to be those influential factors too that affect your child. They might witness smoking, drinking, physical abuse taking place in one of their friends' home and start to think that that's the norm.
Right.
You know, so there's a lot of factors that you have to really consider when you're raising a child, what you expose them to. You definitely want to expose them to different things, but you as a father and as a mother, you want to control the different things that they're exposed to, because you have to filter. You're the filter for your child in terms of what they be exposed to and what it's going to influence them. And there's going to be times they're not always going to be in your direct supervision, but as long as you have the majority of the influence in your child's life, the odds are in your favor in terms of how they may come out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not 100% guaranteed all the time, because children will stray.
Right.
But depending on the foundation you've laid for them and how you influence their life will determine how far they stray before they come back.
Right.
Excellent, excellent. And the mother has to be in total agreement with the father. Okay, whether he's in the house or out the house, they got to put away their personal
Differences.
personal differences.
Yeah.
It's not about what took place with us. Let's focus on a good life for the child.
Right.
Okay, just let's work together with the child.
Right.
Okay, you had your shortcomings, I had my shortcomings. We're not even going to get into that.
Right.
We're going to stay focused on the welfare and the best interests of the child.
Right.
Okay. Now, what time child goes to school? The simple time. What time the child has to be home to prepare for tomorrow?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Is it necessary for the child to be hanging out during the day, from Monday to Thursday,
Right.
or Monday to Friday? Is it necessary when they should be home doing their homework?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Studying, reading,
Right.
and then. So it has to be teamwork.
Yeah. It seems to me that, and I could testify to this when I was growing up, and even I could testify to this now. It seems to be as though we're fighting media for the life of children.
Definitely.
We're fighting the media. We're fighting television. We're
Yes.
fighting radio. We're fighting magazines.
Right.
We're fighting styles and all
Yes.
type of
Yes.
Trends.
current modern day trends for the life of children. Now, even in movies in Hollywood, this is one of the things.
You're fighting the system.
Yeah.
You're fighting the educational system. You're fighting the fashion system.
Right.
You're fighting all of the vices.
And
You're fighting the fast food chains.
yeah. And my thing, especially as black men, that's another key issue. As black men, we're fighting for the image, our
Absolutely.
image that's
Our
being
image,
portrayed to now our young black African American original women. They grow up and they have this perception of what a real man is, to the point where they don't even really want original black men anymore because of what's being portrayed in the magazines and what's being portrayed on TV. They have this image that every black man has to have this or has to have that, has to have the house, the car, the college degree, or has to have a certain ideology, perception. What would you say to that? I mean, I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from.
Right, I
with
understand
the
what you're saying.
whole
Right.
ideology you have on TV now. You have Superman, Batman,
Spider-Man.
Iron Man,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, all the superhero men. And I didn't want to go too far into it, but they all have a specific image. And none of them are original black men being portrayed in a positive light.
True.
So now the media has basically shaped the minds of not only the young women, but also the young black men, to where they're not even proud to be black anymore.
True.
But we're still continuing. I just wanted to go into that.
Right.
We're still continuing on single parents.
Right.
How do we fight media? How do we fight that?
Well, we
How
have
do
to
we
become
fight
living
media?
examples. That's the only way to fight it.
True.
Right.
We can't fight it with rhetoric,
Right.
because if your actions don't back up the words, eventually the words will eventually fade away, because
Right.
it's just an illusion. So you have to combat it with action and being a living example. We teach more people from our actions and behaviors than we do with our mouths.
Right.
And the reason why I say that is because when you're speaking to someone, you know who you're speaking to.
Right.
But when you're acting, you don't know who's watching you. There's a whole lot of people watching you when you have no clue.
Right.
True.
And they're seeing what you're doing.
Right.
True.
And this is how sometimes, like, you know, my brother-in-law, he had came up to me one time, you know, he had said to me, you know, from watching me
Yeah.
and how I, you know, raise my children, how
Yeah,
I sacrifice,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, to provide for my children.
Right.
He said by watching me, that made him want to do more as a father, as a man, and he has.
Right.
You know, he's really, he has passed the expectations of everyone in my family, you know what I'm saying, when it came to being a responsible role, you know.
They didn't think that, they would think that was going to happen.
They never see the day that
Right,
happened.
yeah, right,
But, you know,
exactly.
it has happened.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I never really used to have conversations with him about, you know, you need
Right.
to really do this. I didn't have to do anything of that nature.
Right.
You know, I just did what I know I'm supposed to do, and just from him seeing that was enough. Because he saw a living example as
Right.
opposed to, because I'm
Right.
pretty sure he's heard it before from everyone. Yeah, you need to take care of your this and that.
Right.
You know, but you teach more people and you reach more people
Right.
with action than you do with rhetoric, and that's what we need to do. And as more of us continue to be responsible and step up to the plate and be able to hold that weight,
Right.
then everything else will change, because now we're altering the substance of who we are. See, you could always flash an image in front of the people, but if there's substance behind that image, eventually that image will fade.
Mm,
It will
okay.
eventually fade.
Yeah.
You know, so once we become the
Right.
substance of what it is that we say we are, that image will reflect that.
Right.
And it will maintain and stay there as long as the substance behind it is real.
Right. Now, and we're also, well, that's what you meant about the TV. 99% of programs on the TV is garbage.
Right.
Negative garbage.
Right.
You understand? And that tells you that that's what they want out there for the youth. Garbage.
Right.
Now, every preacher know this. Every minister know this. Every politician, everybody of any type of political position know this. They're supposed to have what you're doing.
Yeah.
They should be instituting more responsibility and accountability for the youth.
Right.
And they are positioned to do this.
Right.
But they done got caught up and bought for $2. You understand what I'm trying to say? And they got children. But they so brainwashed or weak or greedy for $2 that they block this information that will benefit their own children. Now, a lot of leaders and politicians and men of high positions, their children are more corrupted than the children in what we call in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
You understand?
Right.
The drug problem started in their neighborhood, and then it was brought to our neighborhood.
Right.
You understand what I'm trying to say? So, so the system actually is designed and set up to destroy the mind of the black youth.
Right.
You understand? Physically and mentally, and put them in put handcuffs on the mind, handcuffs on their hands, handcuffs on their feet, so they can't move, they can't think, and they can't do nothing constructive because the whole system is down on them.
Right.
Hold them down.
Right.
Don't let them get up.
Right.
Bleed them. Put up your McDonald's, your Kentucky Fried, your Burger King. Put up all these here fast food chains and put poison in it, the steroids and so forth, to keep them stagnated where they can't function.
Right. See, my thing is that especially out here in Queens, Jamaica, Queens, here, like if you go down Merrick Boulevard, you see all the wonderful work that I believe it's Reverend Flake and I'm doing over here. Reverend Floyd Flake with the all the apartment buildings and stuff like that, and he has a cathedral, and they're doing a lot of good work in the neighborhood. My thing is that when these churches start to wake up and start telling people stop eating McDonald's,
Thank you.
what's going to happen? Where